Today we've got Grant Hussey, 2021 grad from Parkersburg South High School, recent commit to West Virginia University. Welcome. Appreciate you talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about your bio. What do we see when we look on your bio?
Well, I am a 6'3", 210-pound, right-handed throwing, left-handed batting first baseman from Parkersburg South, and
Patriots, right?
Oh yeah,
there you go.
Not the Big Reds.
So tell me, in the recruiting process, there's a lot of highs and there's a lot of lows. Can you talk a little bit about some of the stories that you think of when you think of the high points and the low points as you were on your journey?
I don't really think there's any low points. I mean, it all happened so quick. It was just kind of like, bam, it's happened. Like, you just didn't really expect it to be like that. So it's definitely a cool thing. I mean, going to camps and not expecting much, just not being known, and now ranked and doing all this cool stuff, getting invited to all this cool stuff, and it's just an awesome thing.
So when you look back, you say things happened pretty quick. What were some of the key things that you guys did in the recruiting process to kind of get you to that point? Were there a few things? Was it an email you sent? Was it a phone call you made? Was it the travel team you played for? What were some of the key things you think that were really instrumental in getting that scholarship offer from West Virginia?
Okay, so a big thing was the showcases and camps and stuff that we went to during my freshman year, just to get on the radar and all that stuff of West Virginia. And next was the travel team, which that was probably the biggest part of it, because going to big tournaments, playing big competition, and playing well against them just boosted the stock up for the offer from West Virginia. So
I get asked a lot from a lot of guys, hey, how do I get on a good travel team? How did it work for you? How did you even, which team did you play for, and how did you find out about them? How did you score a spot on the roster?
Well, my summer travel team's the Kentucky Baseball Club, and they actually found me because we went down to a Perfect Game showcase in Lexington, Kentucky, and I mean, I did so-so at that showcase, and it was all right. And then a couple weeks later, we received an email from, it's now my coach, Coach Buck, and asking me to come try out and come do all this stuff with him. And so we went down there, and I mean, we couldn't make the normal first tryout, so we asked him if we could come down there and just do a regular, just one-on-one tryout. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess he liked what he saw.
Right.
And so I made the 15U Prime team, which is their bigger team. And so, I mean, it was definitely a big deal.
So what would it have been like if you go back and you guys decide, hey, we're not going to go to that camp, that travel coach doesn't see you, don't get the offer, and you're not playing with the Kentucky Baseball Club, you're not down in Georgia where coaches are seeing you. How would that have impacted you?
Well, I think I just would have kept doing this stuff and maybe just little smaller stuff here and there, but still get the exposure of what I needed. I mean, it might have not happened so quick, but we still would have tried to make it happen.
Sure, excellent. So when did everything start for you in the recruiting process?
It started big time. It started at the start of freshman year last year. That was just when everything started getting big, starting to get emails and just recruiting stuff.
When did you start planning it out? When did you start sending emails or thinking about showcases or start kind of projecting, okay, I need to start doing some of these things? When did that start for you?
That was probably like the middle of freshman year, because the first WVU camp we went to was in August, but I mean, I didn't really show out there much but then we went back in November, and that's when I started picking up, and they started paying attention to me a little more during that stuff. And then I got personally invited back to one in January, and that's when everything kind of just took its place, and they started looking at me more, and it got big time then.
So was the camps that you went to, like they had their recruit camps, was that the first interaction you had with WVU, or were there, did you send emails or call coaches or anything before that?
I had never really sent an email. I mean, me and Dad, we just kind of looked up what's going on, and I mean, we've always been Mountaineer fans, so we were just kind of like, yeah, let's go to this and see what happens, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your high school team and your high school coach. How instrumental was your coach in the recruiting process?
Well, I mean, he was a first-year coach, and he didn't know everybody yet, and so he wasn't a big part in it, but he didn't hinder it at all.
What about your travel team coach? What role did your travel team coach play there with the Kentucky Baseball Club?
He was a really big part in it. Like, the schools that were trying to contact me and stuff went through him normally, so he knew what was happening. He would just help me, and my other two coaches were helping me just stay on that path and just do all the stuff I need to do to keep going with all those kind of colleges and recruiting things.
What was the very first interest you had? Was it WVU? Was there another coach with another college? What was the first time someone either reached out or your coach said, "Hey, these guys are interested in you"? And how did that make you feel?
The first one was WVU, and they'd sent me an email, a personal invite to come to the camps, and me and Dad, and I told my mom, and we were all just like, "It's definitely starting. Like, we're definitely getting into what we want to do."
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. So who do you think the two most influential people were in your recruiting journey?
Definitely Coach Buck, because like I said, he was telling me what to do and telling me what not to do.
This is with the Kentucky Baseball Club.
And Dad, because I mean, I probably wouldn't be here without him making sacrifices and all that stuff. Same with my mom, just taking me to this stuff, signing me up for this stuff, spending their money to take me to this stuff, and it's definitely thankful for them.
So did you use any recruiting services in your journey? NCSA, Recruit Me. I mean, there's 1,000 of them out there.
Nah, we never really got into that. It was just kind of, I mean, Dad had looked up all the stuff we needed to look at, and he kind of knew what he was doing a little bit, so we never really used a recruiting service.
Sure. So tell me a little bit about recruiting videos and how that played a role in the actual process here. Did you have skills videos, highlight videos? How did that work? YouTube page?
Well, when you go to the Perfect Game and PBR events, you can normally pay a little extra because they're always filming there. And so they'll take all your good reps and all your good infielding stuff, and they put it on video, put it on your profile. And normally with that, coaches will see that and they see what they like. They'll contact you. It starts.
Were you able to market yourself with some of those videos or some of your profile information? Did you reach out like email or Twitter?
Yeah, we sent just some, like, our schedule for KBC at the end of the school year to 5 or 6 different colleges just to see if they wanted to, or if they're interested at all and come watch, or close colleges just so they wouldn't have to go out of their way to watch. Yeah.
So tell me about how the communication process happened with WVU. Was it a recruiting coordinator reach out to you, position coach? You talked to the head coach. How did that communication happen?
So first, we were checking our emails, and Coach Sabins had sent an email about their camp, just saying when it is and how much it costs, and just if you're interested in WVU or colleges around West Virginia, try to attend this camp to get exposed to them. And so we obviously did that. So for players that go to those camps, how's the communication happen at the camps? The coach talk to you a little bit, pull you off to the side, and tell you, hey, we're interested in you. Hey, we want to see you some more. How's that happen there at the camps? Well, it first happened at the camp in November when I went to, because I was killing the ball that weekend, and Sabins told me to come over, pull me aside, and just said, keep doing what you're doing, and I mean, we'll look at you. And so he just, I mean, I kept doing what I was doing that weekend, and after that I kept getting invites and just messages and all that stuff from those kinds of people.
So was it mostly email messages you get, were there text messages on phone, any of that kind of stuff?
It's mostly just emails right now, or like if we try to call them, because I mean they can't call us, so
right.
If we call them and they answer, that's a plus. But it's mostly emails right now.
So how many campuses did you visit on your journey? Was it just WVU, or did you get on any other campuses to check them out?
The only one I visited was WVU. We took an unofficial there in January and went to a basketball game, and there was like 4 or 5 other kids there, and it was a good time.
So tell me a little bit about your unofficial visit that you took there at West Virginia. What happened? When did you show up in the morning, afternoon? You have some lunch, meet the guys. What was it like?
Well, they told us to meet at like noon, just at the Monongalia County Ballpark, and there was, like I said, there was like 4 or 5 kids there, and they got a bus and took us on a campus tour and took us into some of the dorms and recreational buildings to just see what the college students do and what it looks like. And then it was that night they were playing Kansas, I think, and so it was a big game. And we went down and they got us some tickets, and it was, I mean, we went to the basketball game and it was a really fun time.
Did you get a chance to talk with the coaches there, or?
Yeah, I mean, they were on the bus with us, and so we could just yell over at them like, hey, Saban's, just what's this or what's that, or how's this happen, or stuff like that.
Cool. So tell me a little bit about the scholarship offer from WVU. How did that go down? Were you playing in a game, or how did that work out?
Well, it was after one of our main games, and so we were on our way home.
This is down in Georgia?
Yes. And after that, they had said, have Grant call me after he's done or whenever he can. And so we got on there. I mean, me and Dad kind of looked at each other. We were like, something might be happening. And so I was talking to him, and then all of a sudden he said that, and I was just kind of like it was like surreal. We
Pretty good feeling, right?
Yeah. Then we celebrated at a Chili's.
Fantastic. So how did you know, when you got the offer from WVU, how did you know that that was the right fit?
I mean, it's WVU, first of all. I mean, I've been a Mountaineer my whole life, and also, I mean, it's close for the family, so they can still come to games, or I come down here on weekends and hang out with them. But it's also still an hour and a half away, so
So that was the top school on your list?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So do you have any funny recruiting stories? I know you spent a lot of nights in hotels, a lot of travel, baseball. Any amusing stories come to mind?
I mean, most of the fun stuff is just in the pool with the teammates. I mean, we did everything in there. It was just whatever you could think of.
So tell me a little bit about some of the other guys on the team. Were there a lot of guys getting committed from your team?
We definitely had some guys getting looks from other teams, and so they were coming to watch them too, and we had WVU coming to watch, and so the pressure was kind of on just because there's big names watching us, and I mean, we definitely exceeded through it.
How did you guys do down in Georgia?
We finished in the round of 16 of the 328 teams that were there that week. So,
how do you think that helped in your recruiting process, being part of those final rounds or being on one of the elite teams there at the end?
It was definitely big because just being there, the later you go in the rounds, the more scouts come to games, the more people are watching the games, just the bigger the time gets.
So what have you worked on over the last year or so that you think's really kind of put you in that upper echelon to where you can get a commitment from a school like WVU, didn't you?
Definitely exit velocity, which is, I think it's went up like 10 miles an hour over the past year, which is a big deal. And also throwing velocity from first, because at first it's not going to be as hard as a shortstop or whatever because you're throwing across your body, but it's still gone up 5 or 6 miles an hour just from the past year. And if I keep doing that every year, it'll play out.
Excellent. So do you have any advice? Let's say you're talking to some middle school students, some guys who are national level recruits. What advice would you have for them as they start into their high school career? What should they be doing?
100% go to colleges and go to their showcases and just show your interest in them and what they do and how they do it. And I mean, once you do that, once you go to their showcases and stuff, they get interested in you, that's when you just go off from there.
Great. Grant Hussey, 2021 grad from Parkersburg, West Virginia, recently committed to West Virginia to further his baseball career. Appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.